All right. Hello, everyone. It's Brenda Miller. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Basking Ridge, New Jersey, and I go live every Wednesday, or I record every Wednesday to show you some of the things that I've been working on and specials and, whatever's happening in this lovely studio back here. So I'm here today to share with you a card that I actually made last week in a class that I was taking. I'm a consummate student. I love to take card making classes. I am a sucker for kits that come with online classes, and I use them as inspiration and practice. And I sometimes learn new techniques. Sometimes I'm reminded of new ones, but uh, there's a website called onlinecardclasses.com, and Jennifer McGuire and Christina Werner are the instructors. And I think I've taken every single one of their classes that they've offered in the last 10 or 12 years. Totally worth it to me. I learn something every time. And when I saw this was the very first card we made last week. And I said, oh my gosh, this would be perfect made with Stampin' Up! Supplies. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to do it exactly the way that they did it, but it's very similar. And I love the adaptation. I just fell in love with this card and I can't wait to share it with you. So that's what we're working on today. Let me pop over to my desktop so that we can see everything that's going on. All right, so here's the card. Check it out. It is a pop-up tree card. Look at that. Plenty of room to write your sentiment on the inside, and this mechanism to make it pop. So unbelievably simple. I was going to say a different word, but let's go with so unbelievably simple. So this card is so let me show you some of the supplies I used on the card, and I'll continue to show you as we go through. But you'll see that peeking through here, I'm going to be using this paper, which is from the Winter Meadow paper, and you can find that online. It's an online only item. It's a carryover from last year. And then I used some of the dies from the Merriest trees, and lots of fun dies in here. And I also used the sentiment from the stamp set, hoping your home is filled with the spirit of the season, which I just think is amazing for this time of year, especially if you don't want to send a religious card. I tend to do that. I have people who celebrate all different holidays that I send cards to, and I like to keep it somewhat neutral when I can. So anyway, that's why I love that saying. And then I also use the dies from this Frozen Edges bundle. Check this out. I don't think I've shared this before, but this bundle comes with 3 additional snowflake dies. And you can see, so these are the little snowflakes. These are the ones that I used, but you can see that it has this wonderful edge, 2 edgelets. So this is like icicles, and this is like snowflakes, so pretty, and then some great stamps that go with it. So I was looking for snowflakes. These were my snowflakes. So, lots of sets come with snowflakes, but I decided I like these. So those are the bundles, the bundles that I used for this card. And let me show you how it is made. So I'm starting with a piece of Lost Lagoon cardstock. And I'm going to put a piece of basic white on the inside, like I always do. Okay. So I'm just using my regular adhesive for that and putting it on the inside so that I'm ready to go. Now, the first thing we're going to do, I'm not sure which order to go in, but this is the order I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do is adhere the piece of 4 by 5 1/4 of that wonderful Winter Meadow DSP. And I'm going to put that on the front of the card. Okay. Now we are going to die cut. And I really want to make sure that I'm die cutting through both layers so that I don't have to do any guessing or anything like that. And let me just show you what Jennifer McGuire was the one who was teaching this particular class. And one of the things she reminded me of was that when you're putting your card front through, sometimes you can get weird lines from the way that your plates are lining up, etc. So in order to avoid that, you just want to be deliberate about where you put it. So you see I have it upside down. I don't know why, but that's how my brain works. And I'm going to put this a little higher than center, trying to make sure it's straight. And then when I'm going to put it through, see how I'm lining up the edge of the plate with the fold. Okay, so that way, when it goes through the machine, the die cutting machine, which I'm going to do offline, just away from the table, because it tends to shake everything and it takes up a lot of room. But when I put it through, we're not going to get any wacko lines over here. So it's just going to take me a second to whip that through. So you can talk amongst yourselves while I do this. But it makes, of course, I adjusted it a little bit. Not that you can see what I'm doing, but I'm going to go ahead and put it through so that I've cut out both layers of the shapes. Now, to make sure, I don't always go through my die cutting machine back and forth, but when I'm going through multiple layers, I always make sure that I do so that we can make sure that we get a great cut. So as you can see, here it is. Turns out it was a little, I probably would have pushed it over a little bit more, but look, you've now got 2 trees that you can use to further decorate something. How pretty is that, right? So can't really go wrong with these. Okay, so next up, what we're going to do is the mechanism for the pop-up. And what she shared was just simply brilliant. This is 3/4 of an inch wide and 4 inches long, scored at 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we're going to fold it in half, and the open ends, we're going to use some wet adhesive. Okay, and you want to use the wet because it's unbelievably strong. I know I talk a lot about it and how I don't like it, but it is the strongest that I can find. So we're going to put it so that the open ends with the glue, you saw me doing that, we're going to put that to the inside of the card. We're going to lay it down and we're going to close the card. And right there, you've got your mechanism. So I'm going to hold it for a few seconds. And you can see that you've got your opening. So I'm going to hold it a few more. We need to make sure it's really good and stable. And ideally, I would put something heavy on it. Let's see what I got. So I'm going to put, this is my little tray. It's a magnetic tray. I keep my dies in there. I have actually several of these in different sizes so that I don't lose them. So that is great. So I'm just going to leave that to the side while we work on our tree. So what you could do is you could just die cut a tree with, from designer series paper if you wanted to, but she did this fun inlay technique and I want to share that because that was something kind of new to me. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're actually going to not use this just yet. We are going to die cut our snowflakes. So I went ahead and I did that offline, but I showed you these snowflakes before. I'm going to die cut 6 of them because I've die cut a lot of snowflakes. I've made a number of different cards, different colors, blah, blah, blah. So I've die cut a lot of these snowflakes, but when we die cut them, we are going to use a piece of cardstock. Now I used this, whoops, no, there it is. I'm going to use, this is actually pool party cardstock, and you can see I die cut them all, but look what I did. I put a piece of these adhesive sheets that we offer so that after they die cut, they have adhesive on the back. I know I've shown that before, but you can really see how they work. And what we're going to do is put them through the die cutting machine. And then when it comes out, here's your die cut. And you just peel off the backing, okay? And sometimes that's the hardest part of the whole deal, but it really is not that hard. Peel off the backing, and then I'm going to put it on a piece of cardstock, because what she also did was she just inked up the edges. And so you can see I've done these other ones, but we're just using Pool Party, and I use this It's kind of like a dauber and a blending brush at the same time. I would have used my blending brushes, but these snowflakes were just too tiny to do that. So I'm going to use these, and I'll try to put the link in the comments so that you can find them. I had found something similar at a scrapbook expo. I think I've shown it before. And my downline Jean found these for me on Amazon. So I really do like these. You know, I don't use them a ton, but sometimes a dauber is just a little too small, and sometimes a blending brush is just too big, even the small ones. So you see what I'm doing here is I'm just adding a little bit of color to the edges just to give a little bit of kind of shading. So there you go. See how those are? And what we're going to do, now you're saying, oh my goodness, well, I stuck them down already. Okay, but that's the nice thing about this adhesive is that we can peel them back up. Okay, so they are permanent, but you can still get them off. And when you put them down, you don't want to put them too hard. And what we're going to do with these is lay them onto the piece that we want to die cut out the, that's kind of the same one, the tree. And so I'm going to kind of position them in a triangle because I know my tree is a triangle, and we'll see what we can get. So we want to have them close together because we want them all to fit somewhat, at least, on the tree die, but we don't want them overlapping or anything because that kind of takes away the whole thing, right? So let's see how this looks. So I'm just going to position my tree, and I think that I need to pull this one. Let's pull this one over. Let's see how they still peel up. And don't worry, because when we put this through the die cut machine, let's see. Now I've kind of moved things around a little more. Not doing a very good job visually today, but let's see. So we want them, again, to be kind of close together. And if you wanted, you could actually put another one on here, make it 7. I only did 6. Let's see. And we also want some what I would consider white space. So let's see. If we put it on like so, when we die cut this, and I put it through the machine, it's going to really press in these snowflakes, and they are going to give kind of like a faux inlaid look. So maybe not the best arrangement, but something close. And I'm just going to come over to my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and die cut that out really quickly. And voila, we have our tree. And you can see that it really, when it went through the machine, it really pressed those snowflakes in to the paper. And because of the adhesive on the back, these are not going anywhere. So that's kind of like a faux inlay technique. Oh, and if you strategically position your snowflakes on your scrap paper, you can see that you can kind of create a background and, be creative with that if that was something that you wanted to do. All right, so let's go ahead and put this on our card. So what we want to do is take the tree and just lay it in to where it's going to go. Now that we see that we can do that, we are going to put some adhesive on that little mechanism, okay? And once again, we are going to get it in there, put it back, and I'm going to take my little bowl and let it set for a minute. Now, in addition, on my original card, I want to put, I would like a star at the top. It needed some kind of bling. So the star that I'm using, and I'm actually going to have used 2 of them. I'll show you why. But this is just cut from our gold foil paper. I don't know about you, but I am very stingy with my gold foil paper, and I save every little scrap because these little stars don't take much. And the die that I used was from Merriest trees. There's the star, and that's how I got that. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're just going to glue this star on the outside, and we want it to be on right there. Okay, so we've got it just settling, and maybe pull it down a little bit. And of course you can, oops, We're going to maneuver that a little bit with our Take Your Pick tool. I'm leaking a little of the putty, but the nice thing about the wet adhesive is that it gives you time to get it to settle. Now watch what happens. Now when you go to do it, you want to just gently push so that it's on the inside of the card, the tree, and look what happens. There it is. All right. So we've got our tree. And so what we also want to do is I would like a little star on the inside. And so I'm just going to very carefully place this star because I don't want it to end up closing the card. Come on. There we go. And we're just gonna, actually I'm gonna do this with my fingers because the putty is nice and sticky. Can you see what I'm doing there? There we go. So we've got the star on the top of that tree. And when we close the card, I want to make sure it comes up a little bit more because we want it on the top of the tree. Okay, so you might want to push this top one down a little bit just so that it covers it up. This was a problem I had this morning when I was creating, and I didn't realize that I had done that on my original card. So you can see, there it is. It covers it up, all nice and pretty. So you've got the two layers and you've got plenty of room to write on the inside of your card. So that is the pop-up mechanism. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just stamp my sentiment that we've already talked about. And I'm just going to do that. I'm going to use Pretty Peacock ink. And by the way, the tree is Pretty Peacock. So the combination of colors are Lost Lagoon, Pretty Peacock, and Pool Party. So there is our little pop-up card. So if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. I hope you enjoyed watching me make that card and seeing how simple it really is. I will put the measurements for everything in the comment section below each of the videos on Facebook and on YouTube. So that'll be there for you to see. And if you have any questions, again, please be sure to let me know. And until next week, I will have a great week and we'll see you then. Thanks so much. Bye now.